everyone. Hi, I am your host, Jessica Koch, and this is another Profound Professionals. It has been a thrill for me for the past 5 years to feature industry experts of all types of different spaces from all over the world and have them share with us their expertise. And today is no different. Today we have Brad Warren. He helps patient investors, we'll have to find out what that means, build generational wealth. What other kind of wealth would we want? By investing in land. This is exciting because you know what? They're just not making more land. So I hear, I mean, I guess occasional volcanoes go off and shift things around, and we've got some land there, but if we sit around waiting for that to happen, we will be in trouble. So welcome, Brad, and thank you for coming on the show.
Oh, and thank you very much for having me.
Well, tell us, how in the world does one land themselves in a land banking investment?
Well, it started back on December 31st, 2011. I do a quarterly net worth statement, and that was the end of that particular quarter. I've been doing this since I met my wife, March of 1989. We were engaged to get married. I started keeping track of how we were doing financially. Mm-hmm. And that particular quarter, I looked at the numbers, and Jessica, I got to tell you, I was a little surprised. My wife could retire by herself. She had a 401k from a very large company. She had enough money to retire. She was still working at the time, so she was adding to it again as well. Together with my measly little amount of money and her great big amount of money, together we could get by. But by myself, with just what I had amassed, and at that point, I was 60 years old, I didn't have enough to retire. And it was very sobering, very humbling, very embarrassing that my wife was so far ahead of me. So I decided I needed to do something. And given my age and the fact that I didn't have a lot more years left, I needed something that would produce a result in, say, a decade. So I called my land banker friend. Her name is Marcella Silva. She came to the house with her computer, sat at the kitchen table with my wife and I, just as if she were doing a listing presentation to get us to list the house for sale. Only she did a land banking presentation and explained land banking, what it was, how it worked, all that. At the end, my wife got up and said, "No, thank you. I'm not interested." Yeah, kind of surprised me too. She goes, "No, thank you."
That's not how you thought the story was going to go.
No, I didn't. I was hoping an enthusiastic yes from both of us. So she goes, "No, thank you. I like my slow and steady 401k. The company matches it. I'm putting it in mutual funds and stocks that she got to pick herself, and she was doing way better than the plan that the company offered." And she walked out of the room. And I turned to Marcella and I said, "The only way I'm going to get enough money is if I take what I've got and invest in land. Please get me a parcel." That was January of 2012. And I had just turned 61. So 2 months later, I got my first property. A year later, I got a second property. A year later, I got a third property. And then finally, a year after that, I'm on my way to a hotel to hear Marcella speak, and you invite your investor friends to come and meet her and introduce them to Marcella in the hopes that they will buy and build their own portfolios. And my wife says, "I want to go." I said, "Well, but you've already heard Marcella." "Well, you've been investing for 3 years now. You own 3 properties. You've gone down to where the land is and actually walked on it. You have these little bags of dirt labeled with the particular place where the land is located. And you go to the free Tuesday night webinars. So maybe I missed something, but I'd like to find out a little bit more." So she gets in the car, but the whole way there, she goes, "Now, I'm not going to invest. I'm not going to buy. I just want to learn more." Long story short, we get there. She listens to the presentation and she buys 2 properties right there in the hotel. Unbeknownst to me, she had her checkbook with her. She wrote out the 3% deposit for both. And now we had 5 properties. Since then, we bought 6 more. And in the course of events, I eventually went from being a land banking investor. Then I became what's called a finder, which is somebody who refers business and gets paid a referral fee. And now I am a land banking specialist myself with my real estate license here in California. And now when people say, "Well, Brad, what do?" I tell them I sell dirt.
Now, we don't have to be in California to work with you, do we?
Absolutely not. I have international investors, Thailand, Mexico, Canada, where else? A couple of other places, Panama. As long as it's legal for you in the country that you're from to invest in the United States, with a few exceptions. There are some countries where there's terrorism and money laundering. We tend to avoid those particular countries, but otherwise I can help pretty much anybody that wants to build generational wealth.
So a client comes to you and says, all right, I want to have my money grow. How do I expect this to happen? What's my customer experience? How much money do I need to come to the table with? How fast is it going to grow? How does it become my retirement? What is happening with this land and this money anyway?
Okay. Wow. That's a lot of questions. So minimum investment is $25,000 US, up to 2 million. That's our range. Your expected hold time, and remember you earlier said, well, what is a patient investor? We tell people 7 to 10 years to expect your money to just sit there and do nothing. This is not cash flow. This is not flipping. This is not get rich quick. This is buy and hold, set it and forget it, real estate investing, where you just buy the land and then wait for the developer to knock on your door because they need your land to build a 1,000-acre solar farm or a 500 homes or a football stadium, some massive project. And your little 1 acre or 2 acres or 5 acres is right in the middle of this giant land that they need. So they've got to get your land, which enables our clients, our investors, to get anywhere between 3 and 7 times the return on their investment, which is fairly healthy, but you got to be patient.
It can happen faster than that, though, couldn't it?
It can happen faster. I've got a client now praying to Lord, please, God, the gods, she, her, them, they, whoever's listening. One of my first clients from 5 years ago bought a property for $750,000. It's very large. And it was a commercial property, 10 acres. And this is literally a couple of months ago, 5 years, she got an offer, $750,000. She's currently negotiating to sell it for $2 million. And that's not quite 3 times. We wanted her to go for 2.5, but she's older. She's going to put the money in a trust for her granddaughter. And she may not even be around when it sells, but the granddaughter will take the 2 million. She's going to do what's called a 1031 exchange and just buy a bigger piece of land with us for the 2 million. And then the daughter will wait the 7 to 10 years and hopefully turn it into 6, 7, 8 million, something like that. So it can happen sooner and it can happen later. It may take more than 10 years, but you've got to be patient and you got to know that eventually, because of the area that we're investing in, you will get a decent return, very decent return.
Well, that's awesome. That's exciting. So what is a tip that you could give someone entering this space who are thinking about it?
Well, and actually kind of sort of to finish answering your original question about the whole process. So the tip is get educated. In fact, we do not let anybody invest with us until they see Marcella's full 1-hour presentation. We call it Land Banking 101. I send you a link. You watch the presentation. If you said right now, Jessica, Brad, I've got $25,000 in this paper bag right here. I don't want to put it in the bank because I'm losing money, but I want to do something with it. And I don't need it now. And I can wait 10 years. I would say, great. Have you seen the presentation? You would say no. And I would say, sorry, you can't invest yet. So we educate you first. You watch the full hour. Then you get on a call with me and I answer any remaining questions that you have. Then if you want to meet Marcella, we'll set up a 3-way call. And then you would tell us, okay, now I'm ready. You've answered all my questions. I absolutely know this is the right kind of investment for me. What do I do next? And then we take them through the buying process, which I won't go into for the purposes of this show. People can get a hold of me and find out. Sure. But eventually we would find you a property, your own property. It's not like buying a house where if I was a real estate agent doing residential, I put you in a house, we drive around, you'd look at 10, you'd probably forget the first 5 that we looked at. And then you get to pick the one you want. You tell us the price range. We find you one property in that price range. And then Marcella puts together a 30-minute, it's called a property profile video. on just that piece of land. Why is it going to be valuable in a few years? Where is it located? You know, what's around it? What are the projects that are coming in? And you watch that video and you go, yep, I'll take it. And then you go through the process of putting down a deposit and eventually buying it. And the tip I would give is due diligence.
Yeah.
But in this case, we do that. For all the people that are listening or watching any investment, crypto, stocks, bonds, single family residence, syndications, REITs, do your homework, do your due diligence. When it comes to land, we've already done that. And that's explained in that presentation from Marcella on how we do it.
And I always say my favorite non-disclosure is, you know, I'm the Italian mother of 7 and, you know, grandmother of many as well. And we always say we're not your mama. We're not your doctor, your lawyer, your financial planner, or giving you financial advice at this moment. We are simply sharing with you what is out there in the world, what industries there are, ways and things that have worked for other people, and you should take a look at them and speak to professionals and make really educated business decisions for yourself. But one of those ways to start that path is to reach out to Brad and maybe take a look at some of his educational resources and have a meeting and take the start in the path that way. Before we move on to other things, is there anything else about yourself or your company that you'd like to share?
Well, I'm fun to work with. I'm a nice guy. I do insist that people that I work with, I basically have 3 criteria, Jessica. They have to be nice, they have to be patient, and they have to have a minimum of 25,000 in investable cash or a self-directed IRA, or they could do a 1031 exchange if it's real estate, if they're selling a property and want to get into land. But I love what I do. You know, to me, it's not work. It's just a lot of fun. And I love helping people become very, very wealthy. So
that's awesome.
That's what I do. And that's how I do it. And why I do it.
And that's exciting. Now, one of the other reasons we started Profound Professionals was to share causes and spread awareness about amazing causes that are near and dear to our guests' hearts. And you had one that you wanted to share with us. Why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Well, it's the American Red Cross. And I've been donating blood for years. I've lost count. I recently got my 13-gallon pin, which means I've made at least 104. And since then, I've done 2 or 3 more. So I'm around 106, 107 donations. And I'm semi-retired. I'm 72. I'm doing my land banking. I'm just having a lot of fun. And I also have time on my hands. I have some extra hours. So I like to do volunteer work. So I called up the American Red Cross, the local chapter here in the San Francisco area. And I said, look, I'm a former business coach and seminar leader. I've stood up in front of audiences. I have no fear of speaking in public. And I love to talk. And I want to talk about the need for blood, because I know there's always shortages and we always need more people to donate, especially with COVID. That was a huge setback because we couldn't meet face to face and draw blood from people. So I said, can I volunteer and do that? And they said, well, we're sorry, we don't have a position like that. I said, what? They said, no, we don't have a speaking position like that. I said, well, I want you to create one. They said, well, I got to talk to my manager. Got to that manager. They had to talk to their manager. Finally, that person called me.
It's a big organization.
It was very big with over 100,000 volunteers. So lots and lots of people and lots of levels. Finally got to the person. They said, well, Brad, we're going to create a position for you. And so I am the Blood Services Community Outreach Specialist. That's my official title. And I go out either live or via Zoom, and I do 15 to 20-minute presentations on why it's critical and important to donate blood and how to do it. And the hope is that the organization I'm speaking to will do a blood drive. I spoke at the Freemasons in Oakland a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, a couple of weeks ago. I got a free lunch, which was great. Feed me and I'll talk. And they have decided to do, I think they're going to do 2 in 2024. Their calendar's all booked up, but they've now agreed to do. So that's, 50, 60 people twice. That's 100 people. Every pint that you donate can save up to 3 lives. So that's 300 or 400 lives that will be saved from one speaking engagement.
Yeah.
So the return on the investment is multiple times. And I love talking, and I get to do it. You know, I could do it over Zoom. I've done several over Zoom. So if any of your listeners have a mom's club, a soccer club, a Rotary, a Kiwanis, a Moose Lodge, you know, any place where you can get, you know, 10 or 15 people together and you want to learn about the importance of donating blood, I can do it via Zoom. Or if you're local here in, I live in the Northern California area, I'll hop in my car and I'll go, especially if there's food involved, I'll be there. And so I love the American Red Cross. They do a tremendous amount of other things, all the hurricanes and the floods and the fires. But blood is like one of the main things that they do is help our nation's blood supply. They supply, I believe it's 40% of the nation's blood supply.
Well, and I love that it's not a cause that I mentioned when we were chatting earlier before the show that any of our guests have brought to us before. So, so thank you for sharing that. Now, one of the other things on a less serious note, one of my other things the guests who follow us know is we love books, and we're building the ultimate book list. And I love guests to bring to us books that weren't written by them but inspired their life or helped them really launch and grow their business. So are there books of inspiration that you could share with us, Brad?
There's several dozen, but I can think of two that come to mind right away, and you may have heard of these before. One is by T. Harv Eker, who wrote The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. And it's all about what goes on in here has more to do with money than the actual transaction part. It's how you think about and what you believe you deserve. So it had a lot towards getting me into the right mindset to become wealthy. So that was more on the mindset end. The other one is Gary Keller from the Keller Williams Real Estate Company. I've met him in person. I used to actually be a business coach for Keller Williams for almost 7 years. I was one of their called Mega Achievement Productivity Systems coaches. And Gary wrote a book with Jay Papasan called The One Thing. And it's all about focus, time management, choosing your daily activities to coincide with the one thing that you need to get done. And the opening proverb in the book is, if you chase two rabbits, you won't catch either one. And then they're both gone. So that book, in fact, I was so inspired by that book, I went and got certified to be a one thing trainer to teach the full day course that goes along with the book. So highly recommend Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker and Gary Keller's The One Thing.
I love that. Great shares. Now, I would be amiss if I did not say, Mr. Brad Warren, are you also an amazing author with a great book to share with our audience?
Funny you should ask that, because I just happen to have sitting on my desk here a copy of my book called Just Sold, The Real Estate Professional's Guide to Selling More in Less Time.
Yeah.
In my coaching career, I was doing a lot of coaching to real estate agents. And the stuff I was sharing with them about, I don't even call it time management. I call it activity management, because you can't really manage time, but you manage your activities.
Yes.
And I also taught people how to run better meetings and how to overcome procrastination, how to delegate if you had a team. And so I just took all these topics that I was speaking on and wrote a book. And I used it to, when I went out to real estate offices to talk about business coaching, I would give these away as gifts, or I would do a raffle, and then I would collect business cards. And those became my lead generation system was using the book to generate people giving me their business cards. And that's how I built my coaching practice. And I still give the book away every once in a while.
That is awesome. I love that. Well, this has been a lot of fun, and I hope you have learned as much as I have and opened your mind to new possibilities, because I think that's what Brad has really brought to the table for us today. And if you're watching and you're out there, first of all, thank you for sharing your time with us. Second of all, we know that you love us enough to share this, because you just don't know whose life this might touch or improve just by pushing that share button. And if you happen to be an industry expert and think you're a right fit for our show, you can help improve someone's life or grow their business, then reach out to us. We'd love to have you as a guest on the show. And then here's the best part. You could be someone's hero. You could be their hero and ours. And if you know a profound professional, then you can email introduce us to them so that we can share with them how to get scheduled on the show. Now, before we say goodbye, I do always like to ask our guests to share with us one final piece of information or inspiration with our audience. What do you got for us, Brad?
Well, I'll give one of each. So as far as information, please remember my email, brad@bradwarren.com. That's the easiest way to get a hold of me, and that's what starts the whole land banking conversation. And even for referrals, I do pay referral fees. So if any of your listeners, maybe they aren't in a position to buy land, but they know of somebody who is, they can make money by referring that person to me.
Make sure you mention today's show when you reach out to Brad about that, and he will get you signed up in that program with him.
The other thing is a quote, and this actually comes from T. Harv Eker. He said, "Ordinary things consistently done produce extraordinary results." So you may be thinking, oh, I'm plugging away at this thing. I'm making these phone calls, but nothing's really happening. Keep doing it. It's like the water dripping on the rock. It may take 100 years, but eventually it will wear a hole through the rock. Ordinary things.
We do hope it doesn't take 100 years, but
I don't want it to take that.
I love that idea. Ordinary things can lead to extraordinary results. What a beautiful
ordinary things consistently done produce extraordinary results.
Yeah, there is the key right there. Consistently done. What a lovely way to close us out. Thank you so much for that, Brad, and for your time today.
My pleasure.
And as always, I thank you for being here and ask you to remember to be kind to yourself and be kind to each other. Bye, everybody. Thanks for joining our show. And we are done streaming. Yay. I think you did well.
Well, thank you. Yep.
How did you feel like it went? Pretty good. You got everything out that you wanted to share?
There's so much. I could talk for hours, but those are like the basics. A lot of times people always want to know where is the land, and I forgot to get into that, but that doesn't really matter.
That sounded like something you would give them in like the one-on-one piece anyway, because It sounds like once they're there, you guys go looking for these really strategic pieces of land.
Yeah. Well, and it's all in Southern California. That's that white circle that you're looking at. That's a 60-mile radius around downtown LA. We obviously don't sell the land underwater here in the Pacific Ocean, but all of it is in the outskirts. And people say, well, why there? And we explain that. Marcella actually explains that in the presentation. And then we go into it a little deeper because they always want to know, how come you're not in Arizona? How come you're not in Texas or Florida?
So how soon will all of California just kind of fall into the ocean? That's what we all want to know.
I don't see that happening, at least in our lifetimes. And who knows?
Let's hope not.
There will still be some shaking going on. I mean, we're going to have earthquakes here. I mean, we're on a couple of San Andreas fault, and I forget what the other one is called. So there will be earthquakes here, but hopefully not as devastating as the one in 2006.
When I was young, I went to Laguna Vista Elementary. And we were at Point Mugu military base in California. And not far from, I think we're like in between, isn't that like sort of in between LA and San Diego or something like that?
I believe it's,
yeah, something in that region.
Around here.
And when I was there, Mount St. Helens erupted. And there were also earthquakes, and one of the dams up in the mountains broke and flooded the military base. That was all years ago when I was a small child, but those were some of my memories and experiences from California. And I did meet a rattlesnake face to face. And I was on the military base and I was riding my bike, and I think I was in first or second grade, just around, it was like up one street and then you went past the baseball field, and then there was the Sunday school. So I could ride my bike, right? It was safe. It was on the base. It was safe enough. And I was told always to ride my bike straight home. And on the way home, I dawdled at the baseball field and played in the dirt. And that's when I ran into the snake. And so talk about follow the rules and don't break them. Man, I tore off because it had its curl with the rattle going and its head up.
Oh, and, not good.
I tore away from that snake faster than lightning. Like, as close to a Star Trek transportation device.
Beam me up, Scotty, right away.
I was directly out of here, and I never stopped and dawdled ever again after Sunday school. So that taught me a hot lesson fast. But then there was a coconut tree, palm tree in our front yard. And then there was also a big giant rubber tree plant. The tree was taller than the house, and it was great for climbing, this rubber tree plant tree. It was fantastic. And the leaves were these giant, as my kids, giant saucers. I used them as like plates for pretend food when I was, I'd play in the yard. And then there was this beautiful white owl up in the palm tree that would come out at night. And of course it meant that it left owl droppings below the tree in the yard, which are like balls of basically hair and bones from mice and things. I mean, totally disgusting. But when you're a kid, you get into everything.
Of course.
So those are some of my memories of California, and my grandmother in Poway, California, teaching me how to swim. And we had family in San Diego and Los Angeles. And, it just a lot of Italians getting together for a lot of lasagna and raviolis, a lot of homemade raviolis, the size of like giant squares. And I would sit on the counter. They would make the pasta in the pasta machine, and then I would sit there with the fork. My job was making it roughly around the edges with the fork. That was my job. And the 3-day eggplant plant, it took 3 days to make eggplant parmesan. And they not only made homemade cannolis, but giant cream puffs. Homemade giant cream puffs with the puff pastry and all of that. So
you are bringing back. Remember, my wife's Italian.
Yeah.
And my first time meeting her mother, my parents lived on Long Island. Her mom is in the suburbs of Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. And I underestimated the amount of time it would take to drive there. And we left at like 8:30 p.m. I thought we'd be there in 3-4 hours. Well, we get there at 2 a.m. and Agnes is standing in the door. She's got the screen, not the screen door. It was the storm window door, but it was glass. And she's standing there with the light on. And Marie says, okay, she's been waiting up for us the whole time. I said, okay, fine. We walk in the door and literally she goes, hello, it's very nice to meet you. Are you hungry?
That's right. Are you hungry?
Takes us into the kitchen. The entire table,
full of food,
filled with food. There's not even room to sit there and eat. We had to fill the plate and go into the dining room because the kitchen table was completely covered.
Always.
And at 2 a.m. it's like, okay, and I ate a lot, and she liked me because
there's a little bit of heartburn for you if you still have some of that, for sure. You need your Tums. My husband's family is from Long Island, so in the Huntington area.
A little further out. I grew up in Great Neck on the north shore, just outside of Queens.
Yeah.
But that was my introduction to Agnes and Italian food.
That's funny. Yeah, no, us Italians, we like to feed people. We like to eat.
Yep. Yep.
So, well, I hope you enjoyed your experience, and I hope you'll tell others about us, because we are going to be doing a big celebration probably by the end of the year, because we'll have broken 1,000 shows, I think, at that point. And so that will be exciting for us.
Do you, or will you send me the link so that I can put it out to my, on Facebook and LinkedIn and tell people about the show?
Yeah. Oh, this show, sure. So I'm going to tag you on. First of all, are we connected on LinkedIn? I think I.
Hold on. I brought up your LinkedIn profile. Oops, I clicked the wrong button there.
And then also, we're going to email you in a couple of weeks. We're going to add an intro and an outro to the show, and we'll email you the file, as well as
Oh, okay.
We'll send you a link to the article we create for you as well.
Okay, so yes, we are first connected on LinkedIn, so we have each other's email addresses. So I get, I'll just wait. Where are you now? I kind of lost you. Oh, there you are.
I'll tag you on. I'll tag you on the live that's there now.
Yeah, I just saw. I went to LinkedIn, and I'm looking at myself, and it's like, wait a minute, she's talking, but on the screen you weren't talking. It's like, yeah, oh, that's the recording.
Yeah, so I'll go in and edit. I'll edit the caption right away, and I'll tag you. And so I'll trim off that very beginning where we're like, okay, we'll be live in a second. Like, I'll trim that like right now. I'll go in and do that. And then my team will take it, add the intro and the outro, upload it to those other places, email you a copy of it, send you a copy of the article, all the things. This is why we have, I mean, the $43 truthfully doesn't even take the edge off of all the costs that goes into the team working on all the pieces that they do. So, and not to mention the lifetime contract on Apple TV and Roku, where we're going to land these for whatever lifetime means, our lifetime, their lifetime, whoever's lifetime. But we paid a big fee so that I wouldn't have to pay monthly to have our episodes there. And this way, everything we're building and doing, and all the hundreds of episodes we've had before, we can now push there as well. Because I hate being beholden to just like YouTube and Vimeo. So for the 5 years we've been running this, we had almost 11,000 subscribers on YouTube. We had thousands of views, hundreds of comments, a great following, and the artificial intelligence yanked our channel down for cyberbullying. And the video they flagged, Brad, was literally me teaching a business owner how to use a free tool the library service provides for business owners. And I appealed. I tried to get a human being to review the video, everything, and we just gave up and started over. So I had all the videos, I had all the footage, because I'm a nut when it comes to saving things, in the cloud, on an external hard drive, like they're everywhere. Nothing is just on a platform ever. We back up all of our platform stuff too. And like, we do everything because we know we don't own those. But it was just a little disheartening to have it built so well, so organically over all those years, and have it. So we think it'll take us probably another 6 months to get back to the 11,000, because we had such a great following that they want to come back. But it was a little frustrating too. And so that's why I said, okay, now we're going to make the move, hopefully by the end of the year, to the audio podcast, as well as a TV channel that I can have lifetime access on, and some stability. We also will put them all up on our website. So I'm sure you went to my website and saw a bunch of the shows from the past, and we're still adding more shows to the website. The most recent ones get put up quickly, but we have more from the archives that we're adding all the time. And so just again, trying to build a lot of great SEO, Google food, if you would, and backlinks, and things for our guests to get more exposure and be found in different places. As a matter of fact, when that YouTube channel was up, I had several real estate agents who, they constantly change brokers, right? Who contacted me and said, could you please take our video down? It gets the most views every time someone tries to find me. Your stuff comes up, and we're not with that brokerage anymore. And I'm like, okay, well, we're happy to redo your show if you want to do it again, because I mean, clearly we were doing something right, because we use high level descriptions, almost all of the characters YouTube allows. Plus we use massive amounts of strategic tagging for SEO. And we do that on Vimeo and Pinterest and a bunch of other, actually Alignable and Be Connected and a whole bunch of other platforms. And we're adding some new ones that are super exciting. Matter of fact, or one of the platforms is a really great place for you because there's a ton of investors there, high net wealth people. So I should give you my link for that platform, and you should. I'll invite you as a guest to one of the free networking events so you can learn about it. It is a pay-to-play platform. They do have a free version, but it doesn't do much for you. But the paid one, I am in love with it, and I'm on LinkedIn. And I've been teaching LinkedIn for eons. Globally, and I never pay them, and I never encourage people to buy that paid version. But there are a couple of platforms that make huge sense because of the exposure they get you, right? So when you buy the paid for version, it's like having built-in ads paid into it. One of the platforms is like $50 a month, and all of your posts reach every single person on the platform, even if they're not connected to you. So you could have 0 connections and still have your post you're making reach the other people, which is unheard of. I mean, you can't pay $50 a month for LinkedIn ads or TikTok ads. I mean, forget it, and half the time, even when you buy the ads, you got to be connected to these darn people, especially for your posts to get seen like that. It's insane. It's very frustrating and very expensive. And I'm a big organic kind of reach person. So when a platform builds that into, next level, I get excited because it's a great opportunity for people, and they usually don't get it because, man, buying ads is it's like buying stock. It's a super scary. It's like it could flush your money. It could do well. It could do nothing. And who knows? Only the back algorithms of the people who own the stuff who's selling it to you anyway, right? I mean, so very frustrating. But these other packages, I've seen I've seen some really great result and have had some. I know personally people have been using them much longer than mine with great testimonials. So,
and what's the name of that one?
I will share you some links in an email because I want you to use my affiliate links, and I don't want you to Google the food without it. So I will, not that you would intentionally, but I'll just email you my links. Email platform links. And of course, no pressure. I'm just telling you about them because I don't know, we started off on a tangent and talking about things. So anyway, I also have a referral program. My main business is virtual assistant membership program. And so we have VAs from countries all over the world, that about 70 of them, that help our clients with all the back end stuff. So people like you saw on Speakers Playhouse are great customers for me. So authors, coaches, speakers, online course developers, because they need someone else to create their social media content, schedule it, post it, build their newsletters, create events for them, drive traffic to them, find them speaking engagements, get them booked on things. That's the kind of stuff our team does in the background for our clients. So I also have a referral program for that as well. So if you know of anyone who needs that, just let us know. And we don't give 2% of 2 million, but we do give a $100 referral fee, and it's not too shabby,
Hey, it all counts.
That's right. All the money is green.
Ordinary things consistently done produce extraordinary results.
Right.
Yeah, please do send me those links, and I'll take a look at them. Again, I don't make promises to sign up for stuff. But
like I said, they all have some level of a free version if you want to play with them. They also have some networking events that you can just go for free and check out. And it's a world of just meeting new and different people, as many as we can, to share the word on what we do, right? Isn't that the game?
That's exactly the game.
So
all of my business is it's either I meet somebody in person or it's referral.
Yeah.
I don't do ads. You know that I grilled you even just the $43. This is the first time I've paid. It's the first time I paid. I'm going to sneeze. Hold on.
God bless.
Oh, excuse me.
Well, for the higher level podcast, I'm going to tell you it's becoming a more and more of a norm. I'm a part of something called Matchmaker. That's a podcast space, and a good majority of those podcast hosts are beginning to charge some sort of fee. Some of them are like outrageous. I'm not trying to make my lifestyle on the podcast. I'm just trying to take the edge off of the cost of running it. So.
Yeah, I get their emails like once a week, and I've gotten on a couple of their shows, a couple of different people.
Yeah, I am I was a founder of the software, and so I like to buy lifetime options. That's my style versus don't monthly nickel me to death. Let me just give you the $10 up front and let's call it a day.
Right.
And instead of a nickel a month for the rest of my life, because ultimately that'll cost you a lot more, right? So I when I have opportunities like that, and I saw Matchmaker launch, I was like, yeah, that sounds like it's going to be a good thing. Let me just buy their lifetime package, and I did, and I have to tell you, I mean, I've done almost nothing with it, and people constantly, I've been on so many podcasts because of my profile on there, and they reach out to say, hey, we'd love to have you on the show. And so, so I jump on the show as long as there isn't like a $2,000 fee for it or something,
And when you're being interviewed, it's mostly about the VA stuff?
Yeah, I do. So I'm a so I own my own sales and marketing consulting firm. I do a lot of social media training, and I have the VA agency. So I teach on outsourcing automation systems. I teach on the art of negotiation. I'm certified in six intelligences. I do, different sales closing techniques and different sales skill sets, and, and different ways to get speaking engagements, because I've been in the speaking space so long. I do a lot of talks on LinkedIn and social media platforms like LinkedIn, and the LinkedIn alternatives, right? I have about 100 talks. I mean, I'm 50 and fabulous. I'm no spring chicken, so I know a few things.
Well, I'm certainly no spring chicken myself.
Yeah, my husband's 11 years older than me, so I just turned 50 and he's 61. So,
well, I'm 72, so I got you.
You're doing good still. You're still here. That's like,
Yeah,
I
and I'm
always
healthy.
say we could live to be 200 if we just believe it.
Yeah. Well, my goal when I turned 50, I said it would be 100. When I turned 60, I went to 120. When I turned 70, I said 140. And then I actually thought about it. I said, 140, is that really possible? 120. I mean, I know some people. I've read 107, 108, 112. I said 120 would be pretty cool, but 140 would be pretty outrageous. That means I'm only halfway there.
I'm that's right. I'm in it for the long haul.
Yeah, exactly. But I have two conditions though, Jessica: healthy and with plenty of money in the bank.
Yeah, mine is mentally functioning and still fooling around with my husband.
Oh, can I share that with my wife? I won't use your name, but I got it because she's always cracking jokes. She's always telling me that I have no stop sign between my brain and my lips, and I'm always cracking jokes and stuff, and sometimes at her expense, but they're usually of a sexual nature of some kind, about fooling around with the wife or this with the wife. And now it's like, hey, I just met somebody and she said this.
We have 7 kids and 7 grandkids, and he was married 9 years. I was married 7. Both our spouses left us for other people. He had 2 kids. I had 4. We met at the playground. We've had 1 together, and I'm 50, and we just the April 27th we'll be celebrating 24 years together, 23 of them married. So almost half my life together. And do you know, we are still lust hungry teenagers when it comes to, getting together as often as humanly possible. 0 bedroom in our television because there's way more fun stuff to do in there, and we just really, really like each other, and we're really, really good together. And the chemistry is unbelievable. When we walk into a room, people have come up to us and said, unbelievable energy between the 2 of you. And when we go in independently and talk about one another, people say things like, "Oh my God, you light up like a Christmas tree when you talk about him."
Oh,
And
wow.
we have something really, really special. Really, really special. And, you know, when you combine that with all the other great things that come putting the two genders together, there are truly fireworks.
Well, that is, it's funny. It's cool to hear. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Does he work? Is he retired or?
He owns his own company. He's a licensed general contractor, so he does basements, kitchens, bathrooms, and renovations. And he says that keeps him young. He still hops up and down off the back of a truck. He also wrestled in college, and he has still a wrestling physique. He still can wear the same size suit he wore in college. It's unbelievable. I'm a little curvier on the than when we met, but you know what? Still hot. So says he.
Right.
And as I'm turning 50 and I say, "Oh my God, it's so hot in here." And he always says, "I know, baby." That's like what he says. That's his answer every time I say, "Oh my God, I'm so hot." He said, "I know, baby." Yeah, so we have a lot of fun. We're living a really good life.
Well, that's as it should be.
Amen. All right. Well, awesome to talk to you. I'm going to grab some dinner now and go check on my family and hang out. But this was awesome. And I hope to send you some people your way so that, you know, 2% of whatever dollars of a piece of land sounds good to me.
Well, hopefully you'll be getting what we call mailbox money.
Yeah, I like some mailbox money.
You go out to the thing, there'll be a little card, you'll know it's from me, and you'll go, "Ooh, I bet there's a check in there."
Just as long as the people stealing the mail doesn't know there's a check.
Oh yeah, no. I don't want to have to deal with stop checks and then all that crap.
Oh God.
I'll let you know when one's on the way.
Yeah, well, for us, we'd give you a P.O. box because we actually did have, we're in a very rural area, and I think there's just some people who are, I mean, we live in a great neighborhood, but people that drive around and just, you know, I mean, for a while, it was like we were getting not even any junk mail, okay, in our mailbox. So we knew like
something was going on.
Something is wrong. So anything that was connected to money, we began having sent to a P.O. box. We still get some mail at our mailbox at our house, but most of the time it isn't important stuff. So in case the person who decides they want to start stealing our junk mail again comes around, they can have all the flyers and the magazines. We're good.
All right.
So, all right. Well, you take care.
Thank you.
Stay in touch, and we'll be sending you stuff soon.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Have a great week.
You too.
Bye-bye.